Hi, family. Welcome in today's broadcast of You Are Enough, and I'm your host, Prophetess Nikki. Watch our videos, family, from the beginning to the end because I don't want any of you to miss any information that God wants you to hear. And while you're at it, jump over to my Instagram page at Nikki McCray and give me your support over there. You know how much people are missing your presence right now? Your presence is so powerful, and people are really missing your presence. You have a magnetic spirit. You have a powerful spirit. And now that some people are no longer in your life, family, because they played a lot of games with you, now people are missing what you brought to the table. People can identify with you now because you're not in the midst of people. You know, sometimes people will learn a lesson when you're no longer in their life. Sometimes people will learn your true value when you're no longer there. That's not God's will for any of us to learn valuable lessons in life whenever He gives us people and we burn those bridges. You know, God didn't call us to burn bridges, God called us to build bridges. So be mindful of the people that God gives you, and always be aware that the enemy is going to do his best to tempt you to go in a direction that God did not tell you to go in. Your presence is really missed. Your presence is really something that people thought they could do without and live without. And now they know they don't want to live without your presence, but they burned that bridge. They bit the hand that fed them. And the reason why people have bitten the hand that fed them, where you are concerned, or where any of us are concerned, is because sometimes the people that they are in a company with will feed them negative information out of envy, out of jealousy. A lot of people that are no longer in your life, they were fed negative information because of the people that they were surrounded with, because they were looking what they didn't have, and now they're looking at what you have. So they wanted to come in to bring a division. They wanted to come in to bring chaos. They wanted to come in and to destroy what God created to be so beautiful between you and someone else. So don't think when people walk away, or don't think when God allows people to leave and walk away out of your life, that your presence means nothing, or your presence meant nothing to that person. That's not the case. Sometimes people take that ungodly counsel and there are consequences to it. This is why you got to be careful who is feeding your spirit. You got to be careful who you give your ear to. You got to be careful who you give your time to. You got to be careful, family. You know, so many people are looking back at their life and wishing they had another opportunity to do it over. If they had another opportunity, some of them, not all, a lot of people would do things totally different where you were concerned. They thought they couldn't lose you. Never think that you can't lose a gift. Even if God give you a gift, even if God give you a gift of financial wealth, listen, even if God does that, I don't want you to see just because God gave me this nice financial breakthrough and this nice financial blessing that there's no way for me to lose it. There is a way for you to lose it. And we lose gifts that God give us by not being a good steward, by listening to the lies of the enemy. See, when you're in a situation and God has you sitting in that situation for a long time, it's a reason why God had us to sit. There's a reason why God allowed people to be isolated from you. There's a reason why God has allowed people to step away from you. It has everything to do with what God is getting ready to entrust you with, and it has everything to do with what God does not want you to go through with as His elect, as God's remnant. It's just certain people, family, that you'll never vibe with. It's certain people that will never be on your level. It's certain people in life where you're just not going to be able to grow and produce what God told you to grow and produce. So know how powerful that your presence is. Your presence is so powerful, family. Some people really need your presence. Your presence bring hope. Your presence, when you are not in the lives of some people, their lives just go down a rabbit hole. Their lives just fall apart. That's because God assigned you to certain people. When God assigns you to anybody, you're going to be very influential and you're going to be very impactful. And you're going to take a lot of heat. It's going to be a lot of jealousy. There's going to be a lot of enviousness because you're very influential and because you're very impactful and because you're very knowledgeable, you have a lot of wisdom, and you have a lot of intellect and understanding, and you lean and trust and depend on God. And when people see you operating out of your gifts, when people see that out of your belly is flowing rivers of living water, when people see that you are actually functioning in your God given kingdom assignment, the people who don't want to grow, the people who don't want to elevate, these are the people who are going to try to poke holes in your life. These are always the people who are going to criticize you. These are always the people who will never give you accolades. They will never give you your props, but you don't need it because you know who God created you to be. You got to know what you bring to the table, and you got to know how powerful and effective that your presence is. Your presence is so powerful. Whenever you walk in rooms, wherever you walk, you shift atmosphere. You do. You're going to shift the energy in that room. You're going to shift spirits in that room. When people who have spirits that are not of Christ, that are not of God, and you enter into their space, they get uncomfortable. They get nervous. They get agitated. They get frustrated. They get real fidgety. They can't look at you in the eye. And the reason why people can't look you into the eye, a lot of people are shy, but we're talking about people who are not of God. That demon cannot look at you in the eye and stand for you to cast it out. This is why people can't look you dead in your eyes, because that's a spirit that didn't come from God. And that spirit fears that you're going to cast them out. See, your presence is so powerful. Your presence and your aura, your spirit, it is so magnetic. A lot of people right now are yearning, they're longing for your presence. They're longing just to be in your company, just to be in your midst one more time. But when God allows people to leave, keep your door closed. Don't open it, because if you do, you're going to give place to the enemy. You're going to give the enemy place to steal, to kill, and to destroy every single thing that God came to give you. God said in John 10:10, God said, hey guys, I came that you should have life and have it in abundance, but you got to believe it. And you know what? Every one of us have a free will. We have a free choice. You get to decide, and you get to choose. So don't give anybody that much power over your life, thinking that one person doesn't assist me in my life, one person doesn't help me in my life, I just cannot get to the place in my life that I desire to be. That is not the case. You have a decision to make. You have a decision to make. This is your power. This is your kingdom authority. So you are the person that has to use it. Don't lose it. It's like a gift that God give you. If you don't nurture the gift and use the gift, you lose it. And when God finds you faithful in one thing, He's going to make you rule over many. Whenever you are faithful in a little, God said, I'm going to make you more powerful than you've ever been. When you are faithful over a little, God will entrust you with much. Be faithful right now with where you are. Be faithful. Even if you're in a place you don't really want to be, just be faithful in that place. Even if things are not going according to plan, so your plan, just be faithful where you are. God has a plan. We have one, and ultimately the plan that God has for our life. This is the plan that's going to prevail, because this is the most important plan. Because the plan that God has for you, God's plan is not of evil. God's plan is going to bring you hope, and God's plan for your life is going to give you that expected end that you've always wanted to have. Your presence is missed. Your presence is powerful. Your presence is very magnetic. Your presence brings hope. Your presence is going to bring transformation to the lives of people. You know, when people think they can live without you and do without your family, let them. I always tell you all that when people feel like they can do without you, when people feel like they can live without you, you let them. You let them walk. You let them run. You let them go. And you seal your door behind them, because they don't know what awaits them down the road. Some people were not patient enough with you. Some people just packed up and ran to the next best thing, so they thought, because they were very superficial people. See, this is what has to happen to some people. They have to do this because they have to understand who you are, whose you are, and they have to understand what gift that God gave them. And some people won't understand and recognize the gift until you're no longer there. This is going to be a lot of times what happens in the lives of God's elect, God's remnant. People are not going to know who you are until you're no longer there, until you don't give, until you're not open, until you're not receptive anymore. And people leave, then they're going to know your value. Some people never knew your value until they didn't have access to you. When you cut off access, when you cut off your presence, when you cut off your time, your effort, your energy, whatever you were given, when you cut that off, people understand what your presence really meant and how much they miss your presence and how much they are yearning and praying that God will give them another opportunity to grace your presence. Thank all of you for tuning in to today's broadcast of You Are Enough. Thank all of you for your support that you give daily on our channel. Watch our previous recorded videos and our previous recorded lives. Keep hitting that like button, hit subscribe, and don't forget to tap that notification bell so when I upload future videos, you're not going to miss the notification of that video. And don't forget to get your copy of the book, Becoming a Master of Divine Consciousness. And don't forget to get your benevolence candles. You can go to the back of my YouTube page, click that link, and you can purchase your products. And you can jump over to my Instagram, Nikki G McCray. We have product links on our reels and in our stories. You can click that and be a blessing to somebody else. Remember that no weapon that forms against God's children will prosper. We'll talk later. Bye-bye.